Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really getting into something significant, peeling back the layers on smoking. We've gone through a whole stack of sources, scientific stuff, personal stories, you name it. And our mission, for you listening, is really to boil down the key insights.
Indeed. It's everywhere, isn't it? Across time, across cultures. Still so common, even though we all kind of know it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Its global impact is just huge. And the sources, they really show how surprisingly complex it all is.
Absolutely. And that's our goal here, to help you get properly informed, fast. We're looking at, why people start, the health side, why it's so hard to quit, and importantly, what actually works for people who manage it.
Yeah, and what's interesting is the sheer range of material. You've got the hard science, the health facts,
Right.
but also the behavioral stuff, the psychology behind it, and then these really powerful personal accounts. It gives you a much fuller picture, I think.
It really does. It's easy to just label it a bad habit, but it's so much more tangled than that, isn't it? Society, chemistry, personal struggles.
Exactly.
So we're going to try and untangle that. Let's start with the basics. How do the sources actually, define smoking? What are we talking about fundamentally?
Okay, so fundamentally, smoking is defined as inhaling smoke from burning stuff. Usually, almost always in the sources, that substance is tobacco and cigarettes. That's the main focus.
It's not just cigarettes these days, is it? I saw the sources mentioned other things too.
That's a really good point. Yeah, cigarettes are dominant, but they definitely broaden it out. Cigars, pipes, the traditional kind, and even hookahs or water pipes, they all fit under that umbrella of inhaling burnt stuff, each with its own sort of history and risks.
And what about vaping? Where does that fit in? Because you often hear it pitched as like a safer option.
Right. The sources are pretty careful there. They acknowledge it's different heating liquid, not burning tobacco, creating an aerosol.
Okay.
But they're very clear. It is not safe, not harmless. They label it harmful, point out it brings its own chemical issues, and critically, it still delivers that highly addictive nicotine.
So not exactly a safe bet then.
Definitely not framed that way. More like a different kind of risk, really.
So it's a bigger picture than just lighting a cigarette. And the history part the sources touch on is fascinating, how the image has changed so much.
Oh, absolutely. That's striking. You look back, mid-20th century especially, cigarettes were, they were cool.
Right. Old movies, ads.
Exactly. Sophisticated, fashionable, rebellious, even bizarrely, sometimes linked to health back then. It had this whole aura.
It's wild to think about that now compared to what we know. That massive gap between the old image and the science today. It's jarring. The sources really hit that home.
It's a huge shift, a prime example of science just completely changing how we see something that was so normal, from glamour to, a major health crisis.
Which brings us right to the next big question. Why do people even start? Especially considering it often starts young, like teenage years. That part really struck me.
Yeah, very often it does start then. And the sources are pretty clear on the why. Peer pressure comes up again and again, wanting to fit in, if your friends are doing it.
Makes sense. What about just curiosity? Trying things out?
Definitely. Curiosity is huge, especially for teens, right? Wanting to experiment, see what it's like, and maybe that feeling of seeming older or cooler, like you said, tapping into that old adult image.
And then there's the coping mechanism idea, using it for stress or anxiety. That seems common, but maybe a bit of a misunderstanding.
It really is a major point in the sources. People start often believing it helps them relax, handle stress. It feels like a solution for managing emotions.
But, and this is where it gets kind of tricky, according to the sources, nicotine doesn't quite work like that, does it? It's not straightforward relief.
Not at all. It's a paradox, really.
Uh-huh.
Nicotine gives you that quick sort of fake calm. It triggers some brain chemicals initially, but then it depletes them fast. So between cigarettes, you actually end up feeling more anxious, more irritable, more restless. You smoke to relieve the stress caused by the withdrawal from the nicotine itself.
Wow. So it creates the problem it pretends to solve.
Yeah.
That makes it so much more than just a habit you can decide to stop.
Oh, way more. The sources are clear. Nicotine literally hijacks your brain's reward pathways. It hits the brain fast, releases dopamine, that feel-good chemical,
Right.
and that creates this powerful physical need. Your brain chemistry actually changes. It starts demanding it. It's chemical.
And that physical chemical part must tie into the psychological habit too, right? The routine.
Exactly. That's the other massive piece. It gets woven into your daily life. It's not just craving nicotine. It's the routine, the learned behavior. Smoking after a meal, first thing with coffee, on a break, when you're stressed, it becomes automatic.
So your brain just links smoking to those moments.
Yeah.
And breaking those links, those automatic thoughts. That sounds like the real battle.
It's huge, maybe one of the toughest parts. The sources really emphasize that quitting isn't just not smoking. It's about fundamentally changing those routines, finding totally new ways to deal with those triggers, sometimes even changing how you see yourself if smoker was part of your identity.
Okay, so moving from why people start and how it grips them, let's talk about the health effects. The sources, as you said, they don't mince words here. Pretty blunt.
No punches pulled whatsoever. The message couldn't be clearer. Smoking is extremely harmful, like damaging pretty much every organ in your body.
And there was that one number that just jumps out, the number of chemicals.
Yeah, it's staggering. Over 7,000 chemicals identified in cigarette smoke. Just think about that, inhaling this incredibly complex chemical mix.
7,000.
And out of those, the sources consistently point to at least 70 that are known carcinogens, cancer-causing agents. Yeah.
70 carcinogens. Wow. And these aren't just minor things. The sources detail really widespread damage, don't they? What are the big ones they highlight?
Oh, it's systemic. Lungs obviously take a huge hit. The tar, the chemicals, they paralyze and kill the little cleaning hairs, the cilia.
Right.
That leads to things like chronic bronchitis, emphysema, massive lung cancer risk. But then the heart, it makes the heart work harder, damages blood vessels, causes plaque buildup, atherosclerosis. That means way higher risk of heart attack, stroke, even years later.
It affects everything.
Pretty much. Weakens your immune system, so you get sick more easily, heal slower. And then the visible stuff, stained teeth, gum disease, makes your skin age faster, more wrinkles. It's a full-body assault, really.
And it's not just the smoker who's at risk. The sources talk a lot about secondhand smoke, too.
Crucial point. Yeah, the danger isn't contained. Secondhand smoke, the stuff non-smokers breathe in, is also dangerous. It's that same mix of harmful chemicals.
Oh, even if you don't smoke yourself, being around it is bad, especially for certain groups.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Kids are particularly vulnerable. Their lungs are still developing, so they're at higher risk for asthma, infections, even SIDs. And for pregnant women, exposure increases risks like miscarriage, premature birth, low birth weight. The sources are adamant. There's no safe level of exposure. None.
Okay, so given all that, the deep addiction, the brain changes, the awful health risks, it makes complete sense why quitting is so incredibly tough. The sources really explore that struggle.
They do. The sheer force of the nicotine addiction itself is a massive hurdle. Like we said, it rewires the brain. Those cravings can feel overwhelming, almost unbearable, especially early on.
And then you've got the withdrawal symptoms on top of that.
Exactly. That's the brutal part when you try to stop. The sources list them. Anxiety spikes, feeling really irritable, angry even, restless, can't concentrate.
Yeah.
Physical stuff too, like headaches. Getting through that takes serious grit and usually support.
And the sources acknowledge that, relapsing is common. People try many times.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's normal to try quitting, 2, 3, 5, maybe even 10 times or more before it finally sticks. The sources kind of reframe that it's not failure, it's learning.
Which leads to that key message about just keeping at it, right?
Yeah.
Persistence.
That's the core message, really. Don't give up. Every attempt, even if you slip up, teaches you something about your triggers, what helps, what doesn't. Each try gets you closer, builds that resilience.
And there is that message of hope, too, when they talk about recovery. Because it is possible. And the body's ability to heal is pretty amazing.
It's genuinely inspiring. The sources give these timelines showing how fast the body starts repairing itself once you stop. It's not instant, but positive changes kick in almost right away.
I was surprised by how fast some of it happens. Like 20 minutes after the last cigarette, your heart rate starts to normalize. That's quick.
Just 20 minutes, and it keeps going. Within days, your lungs start clearing out mucus and debris. Taste and smell improve. Then over months, years, of those huge risks for heart disease, cancer, they drop dramatically, often getting close to non-smoker levels eventually. The body wants to heal if you give it a chance.
That healing potential, knowing you're not alone, must be huge motivators. What methods did the sources say actually help people quit?
They usually talk about a combination approach because different things work for different people. Nicotine replacement therapy, NRT, is common. Patches, gum, lozenges. They give you nicotine without the smoke, easing withdrawal.
Okay, so tackling the physical side, what about the psychological stuff, the habits?
Yeah, for that, they strongly recommend things like therapy, counseling, support groups. Getting that psychological backup.
Right.
Learning to spot your triggers, develop new coping strategies. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, comes up a lot for changing those thought patterns. And crucially, finding healthier ways to cope. Exercise, meditation, hobbies, anything to distract and manage stress differently.
So arming yourself with different tools. And the personal stories really brought that to life, like the cousin who quit after 12 years.
Yeah, that was a great example. Tried 5 times, kept going back. But then his daughter was born. That was it. That became his why. He couldn't stand the thought of the smoke around her, or being that example. It shows how powerful those deep personal reasons, like family, can be.
That really resonates, that shift in motivation. And there was another one, the listener using podcasts during cravings.
Yes, that showed amazing willpower and strategy,
Yeah.
intense cravings, especially evenings. So instead of smoking, they'd immediately hit play on a podcast, did that for 8 months straight. Every single time. Just shows incredible focus in finding your specific way to write it out.
Both stories really highlight that theme from the sources. The power of deciding and then finding your own way through it.
Definitely. Human resilience right there.
Okay, so let's start to pull this all together. Wrapping up this deep dive, looking back at everything from the sources. What's the biggest takeaway for you? The main thing you hope people listening get?
I think the main thing is that smoking isn't just, a simple habit. It's a really serious, complex addiction. It's a major health issue, yes, but it's also deeply tied into brain chemistry, psychology, daily routines, even social stuff. Understanding all those layers, the chemical part, the behavior, the history, that's key if you want to tackle it.
I totally agree. And running alongside that complexity, the thing that really stands out for me is that thread of hope. It's not just doom and gloom.
Exactly. The sources make it so clear. Quitting is hard. Really, really hard. No question. But it's absolutely doable. Millions have done it. And that fact that your body starts healing so quickly, that's powerful. The long-term gains are massive. So for anyone struggling or supporting someone who is, the message is patience, keep trying, get support. Every little win matters.
That's a great note to end the main discussion on. Which leads me to a final thought, something for you, the listener, to maybe ponder based on all this. If people can overcome something like nicotine addiction, which is so physically ingrained, so psychologically embedded in routines, if they can manage that through sheer motivation, finding new strategies, getting help, what does that suggest about your potential, the listener's potential, to tackle other really tough challenges in life? What else might be possible with that same kind of focus and determination?
Yeah, that's a powerful question to leave folks with. Really speaks to our capacity for change, doesn't it? Something definitely worth thinking about.